we're on to the Ballymore then next.
Day 2.
Yes. Well, I'll start us off then, shall I? I know who Jamie's going for, I think, because I think he sent me a selection across before. Sean, you'll be pleased to know mine's another Mullins. I'm going for the old famous pink and green. I'm going for Gaelic Warrior.
Top man. Because you like to win.
13-2 at the minute with Unibet. Hermes Allen is obviously in fine fettle, so you can't disagree with the argument of being favourite at the minute.
Yep.
You know, and obviously he was only beaten by Shoulder in the Boodles last year, Gaelic Warrior. Again, I think it's another horse on an upward curve.
Yep.
I mean, what have I got here? Won by 86 lengths and then 15 lengths after that.
Yep.
You know, the last time was Blue Sari. Okay, not the best field in the world ever. But I think it's like say another horse where, you know, like you alluded to, Jamie, where, you know, when they go back and the penny drops.
Yeah.
And I think Gaelic Warrior will give Hermes Allen his toughest test today, personally. As I say, that's not to say, you know, you've got Champ Kylie in there, Mark, as well.
You've
champed a couple of times, which I'm sure will be in the mix as well. I'd sort of say I'd like to sort of side with Hermes Allen because he's in great form, but I just think that, you know, it's that age-old question: who they beat, who they run against. So as you say, Mike, you can only beat who you put up against. You can't do nothing about that.
Yeah.
But I do think this is going to be the toughest test, or the sternest test, sort of thing for Hermes Allen. And that coupled with the fact that I think Mullins is going to be flying, for me, Gaelic Warriors edged it. And like I say, he has won very well recently.
I think I'll echo that one.
Yeah.
I think everything you've just said there, I think is spot on. Hermes Allen, you can't argue. But I think we know the Irish horses are tougher. It's just one of those, isn't it? Unfortunately, it is. They come into this. The races are more competitive over in Ireland. There are larger fields. There's more to beat.
Yeah, I say you can't play the poor Hermes Allen. You can't do nothing about it.
No, of course you beat.
And even the trainer, you know, he can only put him in where he thinks he's
and you beat
good
what's in
races
front of you.
Exactly.
But I think with Gaelic Warrior, he's slicker.
Yeah.
Quicker over fences, quicker away from fences, which is imperative, especially at the festival. If you can get away from those clean and you're going away from the fences, I think I
actually haven't mentioned you've also possibly got an entry for Perry et Passe, whoever it is, the two-tone thing. Again, so if it goes in there, that only even strengthens the field further.
Of course.
But also you've got Gaelic Warrior in how many entries he's got?
Of course.
But it's in the Supreme and the Ballymore.
But
it's Mullins bingo.
Correct. It's
as we always say, you know, I mean, there's no guarantee in any of these selections. We say we'll run in each race.
But yeah, for me as well.
But on paper, as you say,
I definitely would.
It's going to be the toughest challenge, I think, so far.
Yeah.
And as I say, unfortunately, possibly for one man over there, I think he might just fall short this time. But we'll see.
But again, like I say, just to move this.
Before we hand over to that man, Mark, where are you on this one then?
Well, I like Hermes Allen.
There we go.
I like Hermes Allen. You know, he's a course and distance winner, which is obviously massive. You know, to
the plus.
You know, running at Cheltenham. Say Champ Kylie. You know, one I picked out and ones to watch. It's been very impressive. You know, some rounds, 6-1, 7-1 shot. Gaelic Warrior, which I believe is around the 5s. I've seen an Impair et Passe. I believe it's the pronunciation. It's around 7-2. But Hermes Allen, you know, ran at Cheltenham back in November of last year. You know, it caught my eye. You know, in that run for me. You know, but most importantly, when he ran at Newbury in the Coral Channel Novices Hurdle to Grade 1.
You've been reading my notes.
Well, I can see through the laptop and through the glass, but look, at the end of the day, you know, like, it is going to be his biggest test. You know, when you've got them 3 Willie Mullins horses that are going to be steaming behind him, you know, and but I think that if it's going to be a very tactical race, I think, for Paul Nicholls in this one. But like you say, Gaelic Warrior's got a number of entries. Champ Kylie's got a couple of entries. He's also entered in the Supreme as well. but I just think Hermes Allen. I think he's rightful to be the favourite in this one. Sean's probably hating me right now. The fact I'm going against Willie Mullins when I started off really well when I was for him.
Such a shame.
I think it will be another win for the English. I think Paul Nicholls in Hermes Allen.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think Hermes Allen.
Give me 5 there, Jamie.
Yeah.
Sorry,
can we do that again?
Sorry,
We do
good
that
way.
clap. No, can we do that again?
They haven't had a Guinness yet. Not even had a Guinness.
I'll tell you what, if that doesn't scream lack of confidence, I don't know what does.
Where should we spend our winning, Sean?
But I definitely think Hermes Allen. I think he should win. I thought he was impressive, like you said, in Newbury. Very impressive. He's French bred as well. I thought he won that because Braveman's Game won that. Was it Braveman's Game? Won that particular race. And I thought that was very impressive. And always you should be looking at course form at Cheltenham.
I disagree with you.
I think he was very impressive in the Ballymore novice trial, and that was in November. And I thought he was very impressive. That's for my main selection, and the other selection is for an each way. Is Irish Point, trained by Gordon Elliott. Now I'm just like looking at the in the field. Got beaten by Marine Nationale, went up in trip next time, and he in 2 mile free, but got beaten by Champ Kylie by 2 1/4 lengths. But I think the trip will suit him. Plus, last season Gordon Elliott didn't have a particularly good season. We all know what actually happened from last season. Didn't had a fantastic season at all.
No.
I think
not by normal standards, sort of thing.
Yeah, and I think he had 2 wins at Cheltenham last year, which is very unusual. I think this year at Cheltenham, I think you'll see him get a few more than 2 than last year, and I'm sure he'll. There's plenty of targets for winning in his stable, but I think with an each way, I think Irish Point, if he does get into the race and running that Ballymore.
Okay, all right. Well, that moves us on then, folks, to the Browns, Browns of Ivory, whatever you want to call it.
All the Irish.
We'll let Sean start because he hasn't all kicked one off yet. So, who are you gone for this?
I'm going to stick with an old friend of mine, Time Hill.
Oh, okay.
Who I've done many a time, and we've sat here with Johnny's, usually over the stayers. Has taken very well to the larger ones. This is an interesting race. I don't think it's going to be a strong race. Going through what we can see, obviously early doors is different. Like we've said with the Mullins, bingo, they all do it. They all flirt around with different races and pick where they're going to go. I think this is a perfect race for Time Hill. I think 3 miles, we know for a fact that he knows the course.
Of course he does. Yeah,
very well.
Times.
Do you know what I mean? With multiple wins, multiple very close calls. I think we'll probably have to jump a little bit more consistently than has done since taking to these. I can understand there would be question marks.
Yeah, you'd say maybe slightly underperformed a little bit. Not you'd hope for more.
Yeah. I mean, you would hope that when they send him this way after such a illustrious chasing, hurdling type, but he's then come up against a progressive McFabulous, and got beat first time round, but then switched that straight round and put McFabulous back in his place by 15 lengths.
Yes, he did.
So obviously then sort of realised, and that's going up. Lost at 2 mile 7, not come second, but in a 3 horse race, that's losing essentially. In a 2 mile 7, up him up just a little bit further at 3 mile on soft ground, goes and absolutely destroys a field, and comfortably as well. It wasn't.
I think since he's been running in most races and fences, you can see the improvement each time.
100%, and for me, the Browns is a good, it is a good race to aim at for this one. So I'd like him to have another Cheltenham success personally. So Browns and Time Hill for me.
Okay, all right. Where should we go? Go on in, Jamie. Go on.
I think I'm continuing with Time Hill. I think I've done it with my main selection, Time Hill, trained by Philip Hobbs. Yeah, fantastic horse. Done very well last year in the Stayers. Finished second behind Flooring Porter. And then since, like I said, stepping up in, jumping over fences, he's improving since every time he's been running over fences. And he won, like you said, 15 lengths in front of Mac Fabulous, winning the Cato Star novice chase. Very impressive, and I think it'll be looking at the prices, it's like 7 to 1, I think, or it could be even smaller or bigger, and that's a reasonable each way.
11 to 2 on Unibet.
With Unibet, like each way for me. That's for my main one, and then for my second one for an each way purpose for because I'll always do 2 in the race or whatever. The other one is Irish, Irish trained. He's Mouse Morris, Gentleman's Game. He's only won, he won one race over fence, and that was only once, and that was over Leopardstown in a beginner's chase. And he beat I Maximus by 8 lengths. See, that I Maximus from Paul Nicholls has transferred over to Willie Mullins, and it hasn't clicked. Hasn't really clicked. And it was definitely improving the jumping over fences, up in trip, and it could suit. And going left-handed, now that'll be interesting as well, and I think that'll be fine for him. And that'll be a good each way selection for Gentleman's Game, trained by Mouse Morris, for that one as well.
Mark, who do you like in the Browns?
Time Hill.
Yeah.
I know Sean would like that. I've had a little soft spot for Time Hill. Can't deny it. When you go back to the Stayers last year, coming seconds in that, against the eventual winner, Flooring Porter. But when you look at, some of the horses that he finished ahead of, Home by the Lead, I believe, is one that's being mentioned as a real strong candidate for this year's Stayers.
That'd be good for like the form. Do you know what I mean?
It's just, it's one of those, and it didn't quite click for him at Aintree when I was there. The eventual winner in that side, the Burley at 16s. But then, he's over the last obstacles, like you say, Sean, and when he ran in the Corto Star Novices Chase, beating McFabulous. That was
destroyed.
That was quite impressive for me. McFabulous, who I know Glenn we've mentioned many times before.
He's a great horse since.
I think stands a realistic chance in this race. Again, it's not one of the strongest races, I don't think. So I think there's every chance that I think he can put up that one last tussle at the Cheltenham Mill. I think it's very much that Sean's in agreement with me so far. So I think I'm back in his good books.
He's
glad to
Still got 3 more races, so it's not.
We'll see how it goes from there until then. I don't know what it'll be like in the next one. Time Hill for me.
Okay, well, I'm going to take you all on. I've pitched this more of a decision of pedigree might prove a bonus for this horse. I've gone for 7 to 1 shot. Jerry Colombe, or Cologne, however you pronounce it.
Is it Elliot?
It's a Gordon Elliott one, it's an unknown. The distance, well, I say an unknown. He has won a point to point, but he's unbeaten in 6. He's run between 2 mile 5, 2 mile 7, so it's not a ridiculous stretch to 3, but it's a possibility. As I say, this is more of a nice price for a horse who's been in very good form. As I say, he's a bit unknown over the distance per se. Did win a point to point at 3 mile, but so obviously going back right to the beginning, but obviously can stay distance. Whether he can do it in competitive sort of conditions and at the home of jump racing, we'll have to see. There's won a couple of chases already. Okay, not that same distance, but but as I say, the key or one of the factors is the pedigree. I like to look at these up when it comes to festival. Same star as Bristol and May and Apple together. They won their fair share 3 miles.
They did alright.
They didn't do too bad.
As far as staying horses go.
So I think it could be a lovely chance for Elliot, as you say. He should have a better festival this year. And it might not necessarily be one of his fantasy ones there, but I just thought 7 to 1. I thought it was a nice price. to take on, like you say, Time Hill and a few others that, taking on a few fancied horses, don't get me wrong.
Yeah, but still.
But as you say, a couple that may or may not have quite done as, not terribly, but maybe as well as some had hoped. So I think, does a little bit of a dark horse in that race, stands a bit of a chance that could prove to be the secret.
I mean, I noticed that when Sean showed me the little bit of the field, and there was one particular horse which I will mention on part 2, what I think the feeling is, that shouldn't be in the Gold Cup, but the trainer thinks he should be. And I think it could not ruin the horse. It'll ruin the horse actually. Yeah, if he did win it, because it all happened with Coney Green, because he wasn't the same horse when he won as a novice. And that one I will mention in part 2.
Right, okay, well let's move on then. So that brings us to the Queen Mother. Now, I think once upon a time, I would have been 100% convinced that everybody was going to go for it until very recently. So that's obviously given that game away. So, as I alluded to before we started filming, if you'd asked me this a week ago, I would have, without a shadow of a doubt, just said, Energumene, move on. Was a bit concerned, as I alluded to, that both Edwardstone and Energumene got beat, by 14-1 shot, with a half the win percentage ratio, as we were talking about off air. I'm still a bit unsure on what to do, if you know what I mean. Do I think Willie will correct anything that he felt was wrong? Will he have him primed? Of course he bloody will.
Yeah.
So I could just be worrying over nothing, because if there was something wrong, I'm sure he would have found it and he would fix the problems. I don't doubt that for a minute.
Yeah.
Mark, I remember me, talking to you on WhatsApp. Unfortunately, I missed the race. From what I understand, Paul didn't have his best of races in the saddle. Doesn't sound possibly like he covered himself in glory that race. A few people questioned a couple of decisions, whatever. I mean, I didn't see it, so I can't pass judgment.
It was an intriguing race.
Yeah.
Looking at it.
Yeah.
I can't. I can't really say. I'm not a trainer, but when he said about he ballooned the first one because of the white. I just thought, really, because. Like what AP McCoy and Ruben Walsh said, you've got to jump over there, even if it's red, white and blue bangers. It doesn't matter.
You still got to do
because
the job.
I know loads of money for scientific things like horses most probably got to see totally don't have or colourblind or whatever it is. But no, I can. When he jumped the last fence, or was it, or the second? He he corkscrewed or something, and I thought, well, that's a bit of practice. They've employed pressure, trying to make him go a little bit more faster to jump over that last fence, and I thought that was a bit. I think there was a few kinks in his armour that but. You can carry on. I'm sorry. I've blown your.
No. That's why I'm throwing it out there, because I'm still a little bit undecided on the fence. Yeah, I haven't quite made it to the other side.
No, I know we said about CH. He's like indestructible, Captain Scarlet, but. There are types.
They probably won't get that reference, by the way. These two.
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough.
But the only thing is, though, you can tell there were slight chinks in his armour, like a leopard tank.
So I'm assuming you're very much in the Edwardstone camp.
Yeah, because I would like to. Make a race of it, because
he will anyway.
Like I say, I'm not going to go to church and everybody's got a God-given right to win everything.
No.
Man United winning 9 titles in a row, or Chelsea winning 5 titles on the row, or Man City. No one's got a God-given right. And
are you not worried about the fact that he also got beat by a 14
and unseated in the race prior?
Yeah. But
surely Edwardstone backers should be just concerned as Energumene.
But to me, when because I backed him. I backed him at at Kempton, and that was a mistake. I think that happened, and it's always the bogey feats at Kempton, that one with the open ditch, and the tactics. I thought he would have gone forward. They've decided to drop him back a bit, and I think that sort of it could have threw him out. I don't know, but I thought it was a much better, a lot better run than his Kempton, because you're always betting on your last game or your last race, and I thought that was a much better performance. All right, considering he got beat by Energumene, I thought he jumped. He was pinging every fence, and he was pushing on. He was going for it.
There's no guaranteeing that there's going to be an outsider that has a great day at the office. That might not happen again.
No, exactly, and I thought that was a great one by him, and it was great to see.
Not taking anything away from him.
And that was the great. And it was really good to see them type of colours, the Side of Grugia colours, because they won it with Side of Grugia.
Well, they won it fair and square. So you can't take anything away from him. But
when I was listening to Alan King on that races, and I can get it, because he was happy with that run. He was fine, because now they are settled, because they've got that race under his belt.
Yeah, they feel that they've done what they need to do to get him
and I think
ready for
that. It was, like I say, it was a bizarre mistake that he done. I think it was a bizarre mistake at Kempton. And I thought the Arkle champion, I thought he'd done really well. I thought it'll be interesting on that day who's going to win on that thing. I mean, the next one I like, and I'm going to open. It's outside the box, but at the time it was Blue Lord. I think Blue Lord, as despite finishing third in the Arkle, the fair he's improved every time again. He's improved, like from Punchestown, Clonmel and Leopardstown. Biggest win was 11 lengths against Captain Guinness.
Yeah, I've got to be honest.
Shackham further behind.
And I've jotted down Blue Lord in my notes saying, could be a real day.
And I think that the double green silks would have a good. I think the double green silks will have a good Cheltenham, because they've invested and they've got some really good horses.
I think they'll have a good day too.
And I think he's trained in Ireland with the best trainer of all time. He's cut short, so I'm sure he's going to be running in this race. A lot of people on Twitter are going, "Oh, he's going to go to the RSA." You just don't know with Willie Mullins. You just don't know, because at the time he will change in the last moment. I know you got the declarations of 48 hours or 70. He will change it. He might put Blue Lord. Whatever is the thing, but I think he will come into play in this race. There's Blue Lord. But the main selection is Empress.
Okay. Well, I want to move on to Sean, because it's interesting to see where Sean's going to go.
Blue Lord.
Yeah,
I think he wins. Genuinely do think he wins. I think if
he will throw a spanner in the works.
He's so progressive, and his jumping is so slick. And over 2 miles in a Queen Mother, which is a short distance, it is about speed, it is about accuracy over those fences. And that has proven that at the weekend, that if Edward Stone went off too keen and then had to work, too late, race is done. Yes, he was closing, doesn't matter, lost. Because he gave too much too soon in a 2 mile. Then it's all about, well, if you can't keep that horse calm for the first mile, you have lost that race, because it all turns into speed. This isn't a 3 mile. This isn't a cross country. This isn't about stamina.
You've got to be on the ball.
This isn't about stamina. You have to have that horse ready, turning for home within a length of the winner, within a length of first, to make it a race. And if you are as far behind as he was, 5-6 lengths turning for home, he's very good. Such a good horse, Edward Stone.
Even if you
but he's lost it.
Even if you hit a fence, you're going to make a mistake. He improved, like I said, on each course in Ireland. And them fences are hard. It's the same thing with Warwick fences, because at the back of the course you got 3 or 4 fences, like in 2 or 3 strides, and they're hard.
100%, and that's what they do over in Ireland. And this is where Again, don't get me wrong. I think all that's done for Energumene backers is give them a better price.
I mean, considering the field,
Don't see why
I mean, considering the fields he's won.
On that said subject, then, given the fact they're both trained by Willie Mullins, given the fact that Energumene stuttered, obviously we don't know who.
I've changed mine.
Yeah,
not off the back of.
Well, no. What I'm posing the question is, does Paul Townend have a choice to make?
No,
yes.
Paul. I think
he does.
I read that Paul Townend was happy, and I think Paul Townend said he will not change for anything.
Yeah.
He will stay.
Do you know why he doesn't actually have the main? Is Daryl Jacobs.
Daryl Jacobs.
Well, of course, yeah.
Because Daryl Jacobs he's the retainer.
As well.
He's the retainer for the double.
Oh, of course he's, yeah.
So don't get me
wrong. I did jot that down. I actually jotted down. It will
because
be
of the
super
money
interesting.
factor, innit?
Yeah, I put down. It will be super interesting to see if Paul Townend reads / knows more, and what he feels that the chances are after that last race with Energumene. And I think it's fascinating.
Yeah, 100%.
To just even talk about it.
Yeah.
Could there possibly be
a change in the way?
Yeah. You know, could it come to it? Could he go? Well,
no. I fully agree. And like I said, when we first spoke about this, I did think Energumene.
Yeah.
I have changed it. Wasn't off the back of
that performance.
Wasn't off the back of that performance.
No.
Because you can say what you want now. All that has done for Energumene, backers. Because if he turns up, and I know Edwardstone's good. Blue Law, I think, is very progressive and very good. But if the Energumene turns up that battle Shishkin that won the Queen Mother, you can get 5-2.
Yeah, it's a good. Yeah, exactly.
Go and count your money.
Yeah,
because if he turns up with over 2 miles, it's over quick.
Yeah.
If he settles early doors, if he's up with the pace and settled, Energumene can win. Do I think that has, like you say, chinks in the armour? Yeah. Because I think, and Blue Lord can front run. And if he does exactly what Editor Digit did, he could have both Edwardstone and Energumene sweating because his jumping is slick.
I won't be surprised if during coming towards the festival, I won't be surprised there'll be a few layers and make Energumene drift out a little bit.
But again, if he turns up,
but
great
like
price.
I mean, look at Blue. I mean, Blue Lord on the field sizes. He won on a seven field, 4 field, 6 field.
Yeah.
The biggest field was 11.
Queen Mother won't be bigger than 6, 7.
No,
it never is. It never is. When have we gone there and it's more than? I mean, even as an anti-post, you could scroll normally for most races. This stops at about 20.
There's 14 runners in the field at the moment.
So anyway. I apologise for the graphics change that will be needed, but more I thought about it, I'm going to have a punt on Blue Law.
Go on, Mark.
Okay, let's Mark, because we all know Mark's a fan, so.
Fair play to Edouard Digit, who won last time at Cheltenham. As we say, with the win ratio, that's been more than double.
Yeah, exactly. It's surprising. It's a surprise. It was just simply.
You've got to look at it,
Yeah, of course you have.
But I still. Before I go, I totally agree with Sean with Blue Lord. I think he's a slick horse who jumps fences, immaculate, and I think, regardless of who's going to be the jockey on that horse, I think he's going to be in the placings if he runs. Edwardstone, I've been made to eat my words a few times.
Oh, I have 3 or 4 times.
Same here.
Around jockeys, performances and horses, but I still haven't seen anything in Edwardstone to tell me that he's a world-class horse. Yes, he comes second, but he still got beat by 14-1, as we said. But I still stick with the beast. I still stick with Energumene, who, this is a horse to me who, like Sean said, at the moment, if I go to Cheltenham on the Wednesday and I go up to the bookies and I see 5-2 against Energumene's name or potentially more, all we've got to remember is that Shishkin.
I'll have a bet.
When Shishkin won the Supreme, that morning he was one of the joint favourites. By the time we got to the racecourse, he was out to about 6-1. So he drifted and absolutely went on. And despite the complications that Shishkin's having at the moment, you see what he went on and done. And the tussle that Energumene had with Shishkin, that probably brought the best out in Shishkin, but the worst out in him at the same time. And I think what he done and how he dictated the race to win, it wasn't how I wanted it to be. When Shishkin was pulled up, I wanted to see them two tussling. But Energumene, I said it again, I've always said it, you've got to be what's in front of you. And he done that emphatically. Recently at Cheltenham, something wasn't quite right. He's jumping at the first when I watched it. I thought, just Okay, see how it pans
Off
out.
days as well.
Paul Townend.
It's possible.
You know,
It is possible. Yeah.
I think Paul Townend had a bit of an off day as well. You know, these are animals. They're not. You know, like I said, look, as Jamie said, you know, you've got the Elite League where you've got Constitution Hill that it could run backwards and still win. You know, that's
an image.
I'm sorry,
that would be impressive.
That's how good Constitution Hill is.
Yeah.
And I believe in my heart and my mind that's how good Energumene can be and is. And I still think that he's the horse to beat. He won it last year. He was a rightful winner. It's a very competitive field. You look further down the line, you've got Grenadine who's got an entry, won the Tingle Creek, you've got Nube Negra, Captain Guinness, you've got Chacun Pour Soi, you know, and
he don't win over in England.
He doesn't win at all. He doesn't win at all at the moment. But having said that,
unfortunately,
I agree.
I think that the top four, Edward Stone, Energumene, Blue Lord, and Edouard de Gite, because it wasn't a fluke. He jumped every fence at Cheltenham immaculately. And then I said, if you make one mistake, Energumene didn't jump the first fence perfectly. I don't know what the problem was. Willie Mullins keeps his cards close to his chest.
He does.
You know, and what it is, he's the one person who I would have so much confidence in that he can take Energumene away, have a conversation with Paul Townend, and when it comes to Champion Chase Day on the Wednesday, Energumene will turn up and you'll look,
that's what I'm saying. You know,
you'll look
if there's one person who's going to be meticulous to find out or already knew why and get it right, it's Willie Mullins. There's no doubt about it. But
I mean, do I think Energumene gave Edouard de Gite and Edward Stone too much respect? No, I don't. I think it was just a bad day at the office, as it happens.
And it capitalised.
But Edward Stone, halfway rounds, you know, I can watch the race over and over and over, and there was parts of that race where if it was ran at a much faster pace, Edward Stone will crumble and he will not be able to keep up, because halfway rounds I actually thought he's going to get pulled up because he's not going to be able to keep up. But it somehow fell into his hands that Energumene's jumping failed him on that day, but still Edward Stone could not beat Edouard de Gite. And yes, he does potentially come into the frame in this race.
I know, can we see, we're not really mentioning Edouard de Gite because of that win. We're not really mentioning him for the Queen Mothers. Do you reckon he'll be up there in the mix? I mean, you look in the field, I mean, you got Edouard de Gite and you got Grenadine.
I don't think, if I'm honest, I don't think he will, and that's not to discredit, but I think going into this,
so it looks like we're sort of
I know what you're saying, because he's won, there's no respect put on his name. I don't think that's the case.
Or even with Grenadine, I know Grenadine got beat by Edward Stone in Sandown by 9 lengths, and he beat Shishkin.
Yeah,
we all know that Shishkin needs a bet. That was whatever it is, but we're sort of discrediting Edouard de Gite and Grenadine if they do run in the.
I don't think it's discrediting, right? And the reason I say that is because I think Mullins and Alan King would have learnt a lot from that, and this will now be a championship race, run a championship pace with a completely different mindset.
And another question, and I know I'm going to ask because now Blue Lord. Now, do you reckon, because I know that Twitter, they will go, oh, he's not going to be running in the Queen Mother's Chase because he's entered in the right. Do you reckon he would be running in the Ryanair?
It's Mullins, he could do. But I think he could.
Because there's people saying there's 100% he's going to be running in the Ryanair.
Then he wins the Ryanair.
But then you've got Allaho in the Ryanair.
But the thing is with Willie Mullins though, Jamie, if Willie Mullins generally feels that Blue Lord has a realistic chance, he'll put him in there.
Oh, he won't shy away from the battle, without a shadow of a doubt.
Yeah. But I'm just saying out there because you've got people going, he's got 100%, he's going in the Ryanair. And then you go,
but everybody knows.
Entitled to their opinion.
People think they know everything.
Yeah, well, everyone, we get to this and you'll hear it, and we get it all the time, and people will go, oh yeah, but my uncle's friend's daughter's son-in-law knows someone who feeds the horses. Anyway.
Exactly. But anyway, but I just thought, if do you reckon Blue Lord will either go to the Queen Mother or Ryanair?
Wherever he goes, he'll do very well. Right.
Whichever way it is, if he goes to the Champion Chase, then it's going to be
M3,
a three-way tussle.
Yeah.
But no disrespect to Edouard de Gite, I think he had a fantastic race that day, but I just think that this is going to be completely different in the way it's run, and I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
So the Beast wins by 4 lengths. Place your bets now, please.
Okay. All right. Well, we've got 2 more then to cover. We've all got to go to bed at some point.
Yeah.
Hopefully you're still watching.
We might need to split it,
Yeah.
I reckon, on that one.
So obviously next then is the cross-country chase.
It's not my strongest.
I've got to find a bit of a tough one to choose. I have picked one, not necessarily right at the top there at betting myself.
Okay.
Once upon a time it would have been an easy decision. I would have nailed the colours to the Galvin Mast from the outset. Just hasn't worked.
I think they've lost where they want to go with.
Yeah.
I was looking and I thought to myself,
I
do
really
you know
want
what?
to. I
Last
really
year
want
we
to,
were saying
yeah.
Gold Cup with his
Yeah.
horse. He's
I
over
was
the
so
top
excited
of
about him
Yeah.
like a little while ago,
Yeah.
and I, you know, since that Gold Cup 4th run, it just hasn't worked.
It hasn't clicked.
You know, and as well, you know, any people watching will probably know. You know,
It didn't really work when he ran in the down Royal Gold Cup. It just didn't. It just
I mean, he ran in the Savills, didn't he?
Yeah.
And Conflated trounced him, 49 lengths behind.
Yeah.
You know, and the vet said normal post race. So what on earth's happened to
He
him?
just couldn't be bothered.
He couldn't go out
Maybe it
to
was.
stay.
Who knows?
But
Maybe
like-
it was. Yeah.
Yeah, do you know what I mean?
And
It's
it almost
difficult.
breaks my heart a bit, really, because I want him to be as good as I thought he was, and the way he showed in like say some of his early races. So anyway, in a way, I hope I regret not keeping faith, but I haven't. But I am going with another Mullins runner. I'm going with Goodbye Sam. He's been really consistent over 3 mile without quite getting his head in front. You know, he's gone 2-2, 3-2 over that distance. He does seem to favour the softer ground, so obviously I do hope for a bit of rain like the other year, but obviously maybe not quite as torrential. But you know, but I do hope that, you know, I think he's Mullins' best option personally in the race. He's about 12-1 at the minute, 10-1 with Unibet, I think. So yeah, I mean that's my choice. I'm gonna go with Goodbye Sam. I must also have a quick little mention at the moment. Even Sam Crow's got an entry in that race.
Santini.
Santini as well. I didn't even spot Santini, but
I mean, I won't touch either of them for
yeah.
barge pole,
but you know, Sam Crow's won 3 points last year over 3 miles.
Yeah.
And you know, honestly,
You don't know.
the nostalgic fan in me, even though he's not that old in terms of some racing, as we've already discussed before, I'm not the most seasoned racing fan. But I'd love to see him run well though.
100%.
It would be awesome to see him, you know, like that old fire, that old engine going. Do you know what I mean? So, So for me, say Goodbye Sam for Mullins. I say I just covered it wide really. Just think he's Mullins' best shot in this. As I say, I'd love to see Galvin try and you know rediscover where he was. And as I say, as a nostalgic point of view, I'd also love to see Sam Crow run well. So Goodbye Sam for me. So what about you, Mark?
It's one of those races, isn't it? You know, like it's a Jamie Brownlow lottery race, isn't it? You know, last year was probably for me one of the most emotional roller coaster rides, and I wasn't even the one who was emotional. But I was emotional in the respects of because this man sitting next to me, who, you know, standing there in the rain, my jacket was so heavy that day, I felt like I was carrying about 30 kilos on my
You have to
shoulders.
post a video up on it.
Yeah. Well, you might have seen it.
You know,
I'll try and find it and see if I can link it or something. Yeah.
You know, one being in the best weight enclosure at Cheltenham was an experience for me, you know, and also as always one that I'll always go there to because, like I've always said, you know, everyone goes on about this at Cheltenham, but I'll tell you what, the best weight enclosure is emphatic, it's brilliant. Which when you get to see that race, you get to see every single jump for how many times they go around.
Yeah, when they go out, when they go out to the country, you get to see everything,
And such pure emotion, you know, when Delta Work and Tiger Roll come up, you know, to the finish line. Delta Work got the better on the day, you know, and it was, again, Tiger Roll was another horse that did not need to prove anything.
No.
It could have won by 20 lengths, it could have lost by 40 lengths, it would not have mattered what happened on that day. Delta Work, as we say, goes into 5-4 favourite, but I'm throwing everything that I've got into the ring now, and I am siding with Galvin.
Okay.
I'm going for a horse that I think has been crying out for this sort of race. I've said that it was going to be a future Grand National / cross country runner, and I think this is made for him. I really do. If he can have the form that he had back at the end of 2021 when he beat the likes of Aplutard, Kenboy, Mellon, that's the Galvin that I want to see. That's what we've missed, isn't it? It's what we've missed the entire time. And last year, well, I can agree. I just don't know what's happened. It's like he's just thought, I'm going to go down this road and just disappear for a little while. I don't want to be.
The wheels just come off the rails, isn't it?
And
there doesn't seem to be any rhyme or reason for it.
I think this might rejuvenate him. I think so.
I think it will. I'd last see Delta work at Cheltenham recently, and there's a few people, Sean being one of them, that said, that was a quite decent prep run for him. But he'll be in the placings at Cheltenham this year, but I just think that, the one you mentioned, Glenn, I think it's quite a good each way shout. But lads, this is crying out for Galvin. And I'm sure there's probably loads of people who's going to watch this and probably think I'm smoking something, but all Galvin's got to do is turn up and be at the form like
not the money rider could done that. For legal reasons.
But if he turns up, and I think there was just a few little blunders and a few blips. And like I said, Delta work, he was a rightful, deservable winner on that day, beating Tiger Roll. I just wish it wasn't the way that he beat him because for everyone who's going to watch this video, we're still having to pick him up now, from that emotional day, and just let you know, it wasn't the rain on his jacket or the rain running down his face. It was general tears coming out, and that's why we all love it. And that's why we're going to be there again, hopefully with a little bit better weather.
Yeah, it'd be nice.
But I think
as long as we're there, that's all that matters.
Exactly. I think this is a great opportunity for Galvin to rejuvenate himself and spring a few surprises.
Well, as I say, my heart hopes you're right. Yeah, definitely. So. Come on then, Sean.
No, look. I'll be honest. I think Delta Works run previous third, wasn't it? I think it was a good prep run. I do think.
A lot of people are still convinced.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I hope Galvin. I mean, I've spoken before, and he was one of my ones to watch last year before. I fear when the wheels have fallen off to throw a horse into a race with fences like this. May not suit. I could be wrong. I hope I am because I like Galvin. But from a point of view, do I think Delta Work is a worthy favourite? Yes. Do I think Delta Work will win? Yes. Genuinely do. Yeah. I think all they'll do is come away from the third that they got at Cheltenham and just be ready to go again.
The thing is, it's one of them, isn't it? Any prep race for the festival where, like I say,
the prep race doesn't need to be a win.
No. I mean, and I suppose it really depends. Fans look at it completely different to trainers. Of course. As you say, so we all watch these wonderful horses, and like I say, especially when you see them running in a like I say, smaller race kind of thing, pre-festival, and they don't win. The fan in you thinks, oh my god. But the trainer walks away and goes, lovely jubbly.
Yeah.
After that.
Yeah.
Hasn't worked his socks off.
Just run
hasn't done this, hasn't done that. Here we go, we're ready to rock and roll.
Just run well. All that happened is a little bit of steam at the end of the race. If you look, when they came turning for home swinging, he was the only one still on the bit. Yeah. Just didn't find enough. Come around again, and I can promise you now, if he's jumping exactly how he was, he wins this by further than he did last year, that's for damn sure. But yeah, Delta Work for me.
Okay. Alright. Jamie?
This is not the strongest race. No. Look, it's not the strongest race for me, or it's the strongest race on paper. I don't think. So I mean,
probably a Santini, is it?
I mean, some of the entries could be, you could see them in the Grand National. Like Galvin, Fiddler on the Roof, and was it Desiaba?
So I've
got a feeling you're going for none of them.
No, but I'll be. My selection is a Willie Mullins, and it's the same review. Goodbye Sand, where he finished second in a cross-country racing Punchestown in the Kildare Hunt Club race.
As I say, been super consistent over the distance. Just hasn't quite got his neck in front. But
and then looking for another horse with that one, the one that it took me out and won really well in the country cross country chase is Back on the Lash. I thought that was really well battled all the way up to the line, and it was good to see the colours of Harry Redknapp from there. I think Back on the Lash could have a little tussle between the Irish horses, and also he's won there twice on the cross country, so I think a bit of fun, and considering a reasonable big price, we're looking at it each way from there.
So just a quick one, sorry.
Go on.
You mentioned, like we said, we spoke about Galvin, where he's gone. If you remember years ago, Easy's Land.
Easyland was
it was 40 to 1 in this race.
So poor.
Has just it's just
he's got
the
numbers.
face of the earth has just gone.
He's got letters with like your postcode.
That also had the audacity to go off at like 7 to 1 in the trials. I thought,
I saw that. On the
sorry, I don't know who's
thought
backing that. I don't know where that money's coming
I mean, in the field, I can definitely conceive Fiddler on the Roof going over the national fences. I can see Galvin. I don't think Fiddler on the Roof could cope with the cross country. All the fences, like all the banks and everything. Galvin most probably, because Ireland do quite a lot of cross country, and with and even with some of the there might be a French horse in there that could do well, but we'll find out. But I think them two what I've selected.
Yeah.
Poor old Easyland's got more numbers against his name than James Bond, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Shaken not stirred.
It's a shame, but because that early promise just didn't really deliver.
No.
Okay, right. Well, that brings us on to the final selection then, lads, for the first couple of days. The champion bumper.
The old bumper cars.
Well, obviously, what can you say about this one? It's tough, isn't it? You know what I mean? You got at the moment you've got about 20 horses, and they've all got 1s and 2s next to their name. As I'm chatting, I might as well get mine in, I suppose, while I've already started. I'm going to go for Queen's Gamble for Oliver Sherwood. By the looks of it, Oliver's only entry, possibly.
Yeah.
Has won very well there twice. 7 to 1 at the minute, so quite a nice price you can get in a minute. As you say, it is a gamble, hence the name Queen's Gamble.
Yeah.
But going on, it's formed there, and good couple of wins and one in very good style. Both won impressively. I'm probably going to mention, I believe I'm going to mention Sean's here as well. You got It's For Me as well in the race, which again has looked very impressive in its last couple.
Yep.
So, I do think it's very much in the balls. It is a bumper, I wouldn't be shocked if I'm wrong. It could be any of the top sort of maybe 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 at the minute. But as you say, Jamie, you alluded to earlier on in the video, you always sort of at least have to consider the course form.
Yeah.
So that's why I've gone for Queen's Gamble. So I believe maybe I might have stole your thunder. But I'll let you
to be copying for the last
we might wrap it up before we move on.
Exactly. Well, obviously she's out of a getaway mare. Has done very well. 2 bumper runs, like you say, course form. She's won very well on big fields. She won her first run by 10 lengths. In the Mares Open National One, and then again 8 lengths beating Botany. Now Botany's no mug, and she's gone over hurdles, and she's done quite well over hurdles. So the form's like quite reasonable. Like you say, it'd be great to see Oliver Sherwood be back in the winners enclosure, because he was associated with many clouds. Unfortunately, he was diagnosed with cancer. Obviously, he's beaten that, which is great. And he, to me, he deserved more winners than he has been. Because he's moved yard at the sell up and at the move yard. I think this mare could be very special for Oliver Sherwood, and I think Oliver Sherwood is a very good trainer. Just unfortunately, there's some owners don't want to be with Oliver Sherwood. I don't know why. I think he's a great trainer. I think either You know, like always, you know, with syndicates, I think a syndicate or a particular person with a little bit would go with Oliver Shep because he's a fun, he's a fun trainer. He's no nonsense, and it's great to see him. He's beat cancer and all that, and it's great that he's got another horse in his stable that could protect him in the season sort of thing. So
as you say, you know, unfortunately, you know, I saw conversations the other day about, you know, Mullins having God knows how many runners, and you alluded to there, not these other, you know, and other trainers not getting a look in. But at the end of the day, it's not their fault, and it's up to the owner where they want to send them. There's no point complaining that Mullins.
Mullins has got over 10 horses plus in the entries, and people were moaning that it's too big. Of course, he's too big, and you know that.
But it's not his fault. It's not his fault. It's not his fault.
Ireland is very competitive because you've got big trainers like your Gordon Elliott's, your Harry de Bourmets, and Willie Mullins and that. And it's just unfortunate. It just comes swings and roundabouts.
My answer to that is we don't live in an ideal world, unfortunately, and it's just the way it is. We have to accept it, and we should just be grateful that the great horses are running. And in some respects, it doesn't matter who's got them, if you know what I mean. From that point of view, I mean, it does, but it shouldn't define the sport. It's a shame, like you say, that some other trainers like Oliver out there that, you know, that should have more, and you know, and you know, even your smaller trainers like your Fergal O'Briens and that. You know, it'd be nice to see them have some more winners and stuff like that. But as an owner, you want to win races, you're going to send them where you want. And, you know, I don't believe there's an argument to be had there, personally. It's just unfortunate.
Yes.
So anyway, so let's try and sort of wrap up, because we have been going for a while now. So, I think I've already covered your short.
Yeah, I mean, it's for me, there's not a lot to talk about on that one. I messaged you straight away when we watched that trying a couple of weeks ago for me. It's 7-2 at the moment in places. I think it's massive. But again, you don't know because of the Willie Mullins roulette. That he likes to play. But I think the bumper is made for a horse like this. I think it'll be great. He handles that hill. If he handles that hill, not running yet. I think he wins.
Yeah, well, I say, I mean, I'm looking through, you know, from my notes and that when I was, you know, he's won just as impressive in his last final furlongs in his last couple of races as much as Queen's Gamble did. So it's a tough one.
It's a pump like all the bumpers are, but for me, I'm going to stick with mine.
Okay, mate.
Shocker.
He won it last year with Facile Vega, but the horse for me is It's For Me.
I thought it was 2 versus 2. I did believe that.
I think I totally agree with you. When I see him when he ran at Navan, that was impressive. That was like proper impressive. And again, it's just another one that Willie Mullins has to his collection of potentially progressive horses that just go for some. And like you say, the roulette wheel just gets bigger and bigger and bigger with him. And 7-2 at the moment, if he ends up going at that price, you know, I see Queen's Gamble, I think, like you say, is around
7 or 8.
7 or 8. So, you know, it's a bumper race.
Of course, it's not really on that one.
And again, as Sean said, if he handles the hill and performs as well as he did back at Navan, then I think he'll take all the beating.
Okay, alright, well, there we go. Cut. That's the end of it. So there you go, there's our selections for the first couple of days.
Yep.
Obviously, like I say, super stoked and can't wait to get there.
Yeah.
Plans already been made, which we'll probably quickly discuss before we depart for the night. Travel plans and whatnot. So, yeah, you know, hopefully you agree with some. Maybe you think we've missed some out completely. So unfortunately we can't cover every single race. We'd love to, but you know, this is long enough as it is.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah.
Get involved, you know, comment below, as Jamie often likes to say, you know, quite rightly so, you know. Have your say. Join us on Twitter, join the debate on Twitter. We'll try and do what we can when we're there. Obviously, we do get a bit carried away because we just love it so much, but we'll try and do something while we're there.
Yeah.
I say we'll maybe try and do something in the evening if we can, maybe after the first day. You know,
and
just
if Marie's Rock wins the mares, we can promise you this: there will be a live video going up of that man. Whether it's at Cheltenham, in a pub, in the townhouse, or in a curry house. I don't know where it will be, but he will be doing something.
Yeah. Cool. All right then, lads. Cheers, folks. Thanks for watching. We'll see you again for the next video.
See you soon.
Cheerio.